Hi, this is my what I eat in a day as a person who has maintained a weight loss of 46 excess pounds for at least probably 7-8 months, and lost a little more, or some of that lost more recently, but definitely lost the great bulk of that like 7 months ago or something like that, and has really enjoyed it by eating and shopping only for Nova 3 and below. So no ultra processed. Nova 4 is ultra processed, contains by definition industrially manufactured non-culinary additives. So Nova 4 is any food that is lazy, convenient, just already made for you, and is almost always full of these toxic, awful chemicals that ruin your gut microbiome and make you want to overeat all the time because your gut bacteria control everything, including your appetite. So I have successfully kept the weight off, and more importantly, I've boycotted that evil industry that kills people. It's killed people I've known by, making them want to overeat all the time and just destroying their gut bacteria, which controls all of your health. So every time I cook my own food, my own meal, my own treat food, my own chocolate treat, I can make my own chocolate, like from cocoa butter, cacao powder, honey, coconut milk powder, all of which, like, with no Nova 4 additives, all pure, made traditionally in Nova 3 methods and below, instead of made with Nova 4 at all. So all traditionally hundreds of years before the obesity crises made. This is how I eat now without any of that, and feeling so good about driving this evil corporate empire out of business. And I dream of a world where they don't exist anymore and everyone goes back to being healthy and not having all these diseases of massive increases in dementia and diabetes and stroke and depression and anxiety and all these other conditions, autoimmunity, all these things that are made so much more common by having ruined gut bacteria due to these non-culinary, industrially manufactured additives. So I thought I'd show you one example of what I eat in a day now. I personally usually like to eat all of it in like a 4-hour window. So I've got my breakfast and my dinner and I eat them together. But you don't have to do that. That's how I like to eat. It really depends on lots of factors whether that's a good idea for you or not. For me, it really works. And also, you might need to eat a lot. You probably need to eat more than me because I'm short and I have suspected temple syndrome, which means my bones are super light and small, and means I have really hard time gaining muscle, which means I have a very low metabolic rate. So I don't need to eat that much. I'm really lucky I can just not have to spend much on food at all because I have very small calorie needs. So you will need higher portions than this probably, unless you're like 8 or something. Like, you probably have higher calorie needs than me. But just want to show you, it's really simple, nothing fancy. This is me on like a normal day, and I've got here my this is macaroni. I'm just going to dish it up. So this will be my dinner. I should have shown breakfast first. That would have made a lot more sense, wouldn't it? But I'll get to breakfast in a second. I'm just dishing it up. Can you even see what I'm doing? So this is macaroni pasta with some cheese, good quality cheese. Good quality cheese, fresh basil leaves, tomato. I put some dried oregano in there. No additives, no Nova 4 additives, just dried oregano in the tub. You can buy things in a packet, but they just check the ingredients, make sure there was nothing that looks like it was made or invented in a chemistry lab by a chemist. It has to look like it was, and you can check if you're not sure, but things that look like just chemistry lab experiments, that's not food, it's a chemistry lab experiment. So like no maltodextrin and potassium sorbate and hydrogenated oils and interestified oils and all this dog shit, like none of that, no diacetyl esters of mono and diglycerides of fatty acids, none of that stuff. That's all poison. So just like salt, water, those are fine additives, and things you recognize as things that would have been made before the 1900s, when everyone started getting fat in different parts of the world, one by one. Like, one part of the world fell, and then another, and and it correlates perfectly with when these additives got introduced to our food system. So I hope you can even see what I'm showing you, because I'm not really able to look at what you're seeing and look at what I'm doing. But I'm just dishing up. Yeah, it's cheese, tomato, fresh basil, dried oregano leaves, ground white pepper, salt, or apple cider vinegar, and extra virgin olive oil, mechanically pressed. So no artificial, no Nova 4 artificial chemicals. Obviously, technically lots of things are artificial, but the things that have been proven to be the things that drive overeating by ruining your gut bacteria are the concoction, the thousands and thousands of, if you're American, it's over 10,000. If you're in Europe, it's about 400 currently allowed, of these industrially manufactured things you can't make in a traditional way at home, did not exist before chemists and scientists got involved in food instead of like farmers and chefs only. So yeah, this is my dinner, and then I'll show you my breakfast. I'm really excited to show you my breakfast because it's delicious. So I got, this is organic porridge and water. This is 90 grams. For me, it's 90 grams, but like I said, you will need more than this if you are a normal person with a normal skeleton. I'm very, very tiny boned, very little muscle, and very short, so I don't have very high calorie needs. But for me, I have, doesn't even matter how much, but 90 grams as it is. And I like to keep it the same each day so that I don't sort of accidentally drift one way or the other. But it's very unlikely that you will drift far. You won't drift far in your weight when you are not consuming Nova 4 additives, because your body just intuitively will make you stop eating when you've had too much. So I've just stirred that up with the whisk. And this is organic wildflower honey. It's absolutely delicious. I put a spoonful in here for the sweetness. Right, so I'm stirring that up into my just water. I'm not against milk, but I haven't used milk this time. Take that into account if you are, if weight is a concern for you, if you're trying to keep your weight down, obviously, or up, then you might want to know whether you're using milk or not. But I don't need it. I find it doesn't need it. I've just got the honey, a dessert spoonful in my case, of honey. And I like to use this organic cacao powder, and make sure there are no Nova 4 chemicals added to it. Just look at it. This one is pure. It just has ground cocoa powder in and nothing else. So I get to make chocolatey porridge. I get to make basically my own very quick and easy chocolate, because you can make chocolate. I have made chocolate, but it's a little bit fiddly. It's not too bad, but it is a little bit fiddly when you make it the whole, like a chocolate bar. But really quick and easy. You just dump some chocolate powder, ground cacao. So it's not actually cocoa, it's cacao that I like to use. Just a little bit of that in there, see? Can you see that? So I put a little bit of that in there. I'm going to stir that up with my whisk, and I've got 30 grams. Again, I like to weigh out what I have every day so that it stays the same and consistent. And then if there is a weird change in my weight, like go suddenly too far down, or I start to drift up for some reason, it's not going to be a weird surprise. I'm going to know why, is the idea. It hasn't happened. It's not likely to happen. I fluctuate within a couple of pounds, which is what's expected, just water weight and hormones and stuff like that. You're going to fluctuate up and down a few pounds a day. So I haven't had, but I like to just know that, because I know because I have the same sorts of foods most days. Like I have my porridge, I will switch up exactly what I put in it, like whether I put jam in it, good quality jam, or whether I put this chocolate in it, or whether I just put good quality dried grapes, which raisins. I could make my own, but I find you can find good quality Nova 3, not Nova 4 raisins. And so I could put different things in it, but I keep sort of the base ingredient, I keep weighing that the same. So I'll have 90 grams of the porridge every day. I'll have the same amount, the same volume of the pasta, or the same volume of the rice. Every time I have rice, it'll be the same volume, pasta the same volume, and oats the same volume. And then I just change up what goes into those dishes, like the other ingredients, whether it's carrots or peas or sweet corn, and whether it's what kind of dish it is, whether I put cheese in it or not. Those are where I change it up every day. But in terms of if I'm going to have a pasta dish, I know I have 100 grams of pasta, or I have 100, and I like to have 100 grams of rice personally, because as I say, I only have breakfast and dinner, so I don't have 3 meals in my 4-hour window. I have 2, which means I do allow myself the 400 grams. Again, it all depends on your own body needs though. Some people need a lot more calories than others, a lot more calories. Some people would need way way more than me. And some people would need less if they're like really short or whatever, or you have like hypothyroidism or something, although you should get that treated and not just allow yourself to have a low. If that's the case, it's very dangerous not to treat it. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'm not saying follow exactly my amounts. I think it's a good idea to have an idea of, I have this much rice, I have this much pasta, and then you don't have to like calorie count necessarily. I haven't found it necessary. I have no idea what calories I'm eating each day. Partly because I just don't have the kind of brain that can be bothered to count that out every day. But it's sort of, because I'm not poisoning my gut bacteria, my body knows when it's had enough, and I just on time know to stop now, which is, I gained the weight when I gained the weight, those 46 pounds. I'd always been a bit too heavy for my build, not by BMI, because BMI doesn't take into account people with crazy tiny bones like me, but I had been like, my knees hurt under the weight of my body at even like a 22 BMI, and then I got really high cholesterol and bad triglycerides when I got to a BMI of 25, immediately got bad blood work because I had actually been fat, but at a normal BMI, because BMI is rubbish. I had been fat my whole life and they hadn't told me because they didn't bother to do calipers or anything, and they didn't take into account my tiny skeleton and my lack of muscle due to the tiny skeleton. So it was always just, you're a bit flabby, but just work out. It's like, no amount of working out is going to make up for my tiny bones. Like, I mean, it could, but I would have to work out so much, and it's like, that's not the right answer. I just need to weigh less. And eat less. But they didn't tell me that. So I gained a bunch of weight really fast. I gained like probably 30 pounds the other year, and in 2023, and I've lost it, I gained it really fast and lost it really fast. The reason I gained was I just decided to be like, I just can't be bothered to eat whatever. Like, I'm just going to keep myself entertained with food. I just couldn't be bothered for a bit to like even try and be healthy, and that was a terrible idea. But I know the only reason that was possible was because I was eating Nova 4 food, which disrupts your gut microbiome. My body would have told me to stop if I was eating Nova 3 food, but because I was eating Nova 4 food, my body did not tell me to stop. With a few exceptions, you do get some genetic outliers where they will overeat even on Nova 3. That's how obesity existed at all. It did exist in rare cases before the 1900s, but it was a lot less common and much less severe because they didn't have these, even the people who had those genetic or medical problems that caused them to overeat, they did not have the Nova 4 food that allowed them to overeat so much. And then, so most likely I would never have gained all that weight if I wasn't eating Nova 4 food. So I'm very upset with myself that I didn't know any better. And then I learned about it and I lost the weight in like 3 months. I'd already gone like back to a good sort of size. And then I've been trying to work out and get more muscle. And I've actually lost a little bit more since then. And I'm at my healthiest right now. I feel like so energetic. My skin is so much better. And my muscles are starting to show through a tiny bit. I mean, I'm genetically not endowed with the ability to grow muscle easily. My body, when I have a surplus of calories, it wants to just make it fat. It doesn't want to make it muscle. But I'm working with what I've got. And I'm pretty happy right now with what I look like because I used to be flabby. I used to be really flabby and no one used to take it seriously because my BMI was normal. But it turns out I was right. My body was right about what I needed to look like. Like, I think your body knows what's healthy for your build. That's why I thought this isn't right. I should be more firm. I should have a firmer body. I didn't want to look like anyone in particular. I just knew that my body needed to be a bit slimmer and more firm, and I was correct, it turns out, because as soon as I gained a little bit of weight, I was in like 34 years old and I got high cholesterol and bad triglycerides and my knees hurt when I ran, even at like a BMI of 22 or 23. Well, that just shows that my body needs to be lighter than they were telling me. And it's really bad, but so I'm just still whisking all this porridge up. And I'm going to, so I've put this honey in, I've put the chocolate in, and I'm going to put the cashews in. I've got these cashews and I'm going to put them in afterwards. Let me try the dinner now. I forgot I added some plain flour to cover it in the oven. Once I boiled the pasta, the other ingredients in this the name's escaping me, the pan thing. The name will come to me later. I put it all in there with a layer of bread, of just plain flour, and instead of breadcrumbs, just because I don't have bread right now. Not against bread. I buy bread like Nova 3 bread from a bakery where I know they only use like 4 ingredients, like the traditional 4 of salt, water, yeast, and wheat flour. That's like all they use. So it's Nova 3 bread, but I have the organic flour right now, but not bread. So I just poured that on it, and it's fine. Gives it that texture, and it's really nice. Let me see for the. Oh, it's beeped. There you go. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look okay? Where's my spoon? That is delicious. I know because I've had it before. It's so good. It's so good. Might have to caked on a little bit around the sides, but I'll just mix it up. I will make it nice and consistent texture throughout. So yeah, I hope that's inspired people. Join the revolution against the big bad ultra processed food industry. They are the real enemy. The enemy is not like big people themselves. It's not even the fat acceptance movement. I think their hearts are in the right place. The enemy is not the diet industry, except that is part of the ultra processed food industry, and therefore kind of is the parts of it that are selling ultra processed and over for foods themselves and making people want to overeat even more because it's all ultra processed. It just makes you want to eat more because it ruins your gut bacteria. And it's not the media. The media isn't making people feel fat. Getting fat is making people feel fat. Ever since the 70s, 80s, and 90s, if you're in America and different parts of the world, it happened different times. You feel everyone's feeling worse about themselves because we have become unhealthy, and our bodies instinctively know what is healthy for our specific builds, our genetic lineage. You know if you need a bigger bum or a smaller bum to be healthy. You know if you need a smaller waist or you've got broader shoulders or broader pelvis. You know, like I knew I needed to be thinner than other people to be healthy, and I was right. It turned out I was right in the end. Got proven by my health problems that were caused by not lowering my weight, not like just trying to gain muscle when that was a futile exercise for me. Instead of just lowering my weight, and now my weight's better, or my autoimmune diseases have gone away, or like I haven't had flare-ups for a while in a lot of them. It's really good for your eye. I have really bad eye problems, and I'm able to cake makeup on my face. That's one reason I do it so joyfully now, is I actually can wear eye makeup again because my severe autoimmune diseases in my eyes, my keratitis and uveitis in my eyes, it doesn't flare up anymore. But because I'm not inflamed from ultra processed garbage and fake food anymore. So yeah, we are not each other's enemies. You shouldn't be I wish people weren't seeing each other as the enemy, like the fat acceptance movement, seeing, I don't know, like all these different people in different industries as the enemy. The enemy is the ultra processed food industry. That's the reason that body dissatisfaction has increased, because people instinctively want to look healthy. They don't want to look bony. The media never told us to look bony. It's just it always had a wide array of some bigger, some smaller, but no one was really super bony, and no one was really, until recently. Now they are showing lots of really big people, but you had like the Spice Girls all had different shapes and sizes. They were all like, some were more muscular, some had really, like Victoria was the only one who had really tiny frame, like tiny skeleton, and people thought she was too thin. No, she's like me. She has a tiny frame. It's appropriate for her to be thinner because she's got a tiny structure, and other people have a much bulkier like bones and muscle, and it's natural for them to be bigger. And that was always portrayed in the media. You always had a wide array of you had overweight people in the media when I was growing up. What changed is not the media. What changed is everyone got fat because they were eating this toxic garbage, and it wasn't our fault that we got fat. We all just suddenly started, that's why it all went up at the same time. Everyone in the 1970s in America, it was the mid-1970s, the weight of everyone's BMI went up, suddenly went up at the same time in all age groups. Clearly, genetics didn't change overnight. What changed in the middle of the 70s was the ultra-processed food. Everyone just started eating more of it, and it got worse. There were more chemicals in it than ever before, and the severity of ultra-processed food, as well as the percentage in your diet, affects it. So that is the environmental factor that interacts with your genes. So your genes for your behavior, your genes for whether you use food as a coping mechanism or not, they interact with the fact that now you have no ability to feel full. because of this toxic stuff. So yeah, that's my message. I hope it's in some way coherent, and I'm going to eat now. Thank you.